like one of the challenges for us was that when you start out, people are telling you should do this because, you know, it's really tough these days to be a band. So you have to, you know, you have to do this, and this. And if you make a song that everybody in the world has to like it or else you're not going to be big. And that to us just sounded like a huge waste of something we were very passionate about and just very bland musically. So I think one of the things for us was knowing, like, who do you trust to inspire you? You know, like who can you talk with that you go, oh well, you know, friends we've made in bands that I'll listen to them talk and that will mean a lot to me. But who do you want to not listen to? Who do you just want to say that's your opinion, but I still have to be true to myself because it is our name on the record, you know, and how can we put out something that I don't even like and just expect that everyone else is going to like it? So we learned that lesson kind of, I don't know, largely kind of by default because we made, we had a first record and we were signed to a label and we just weren't happy with a lot of the decisions they were making on our behalf. We got out of that deal and we were having all kinds of meetings with tons of different people in the industry, and it was getting pretty boring. You know, it was getting very business heavy and no sort of musical substance. And I think after, you know, so many contracts coming in and them just not reflecting what people had said to us, we decided, like, let's just forget about that and let's just focus on playing music just for ourselves and just for the fans that we do have. And we were really lucky that we recorded our song Love the Way You Hate Me, and we did it completely ourselves, and then radio stations in the States started picking it up. We did a video for it, and next thing it was like #1 on Sirius Octane, which is a massive satellite station in the US. And you know, it was #1 for quite a long time, and that gave us a real confidence that we should, you know, follow our hearts, trust ourselves, you know, and not be afraid to fail, you know, not try and play it safe. And it was really interesting then, the people in the industry who kind of 8 months earlier had told us, you know, you have to do this and stop trying to be yourself, we're now saying it's so great that you guys are yourselves, and you know, and I think that was a great lesson for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think one of the challenges for us, which has ultimately become a huge strength, is that we are fans of a lot of different kinds of music. And there are 3 of us in the band that sing, and there are 3 of us in the band that write songs. So when we first started, we actually grew up, we're brothers, but we grew up playing in different bands. And when we first started playing together, one of the challenges we had was, like, you know, we love all these different kinds of music. What's the sound of Like a Storm going to be? You know, how do you integrate all these things, and 3 different people who write, and, you know, Chris playing didgeridoo, like, the things that make us who we are now is a combination of things. And when we first started playing together, I think it took us a while to just work out how to combine those things. I think if you loved AC/DC more than anything and you just wanted to sound like AC/DC, that's challenging because they're a great band, but you know exactly what you're trying to do. Whereas, as Chris was saying, we were always trying to be ourselves and follow this vision that we had. But because we were doing things that we'd never heard people do before, like having didgeridoo in there, and there's no map for that, you know. So I think one of the things for us in the beginning, which is now, you know, probably my favorite thing about being in the band with these guys, is that there is such a range, and we can really go in whatever direction we like. I think we're really lucky in that the 3 of us get on really well, and with Zach, he really is like part of the family. I know a lot of people will come up to us and say, almost every day, man, I couldn't be in a band with my brothers or my sisters. You know, I love them, but we kill each other. And people say that to us all the time. And fortunately, we never had that. I mean, we fight sometimes, you know, because we're human beings and we're with each other all the time. But we always got on really well, and we always loved music, and we always, in a weird way, we had this kind of unspoken understanding of what we wanted Like a Storm to be. So we don't really fight about the vision of the band or the sound or which songs we're going to play, or it's crazy actually how much of that just becomes this sort of unspoken agreement. Given that there's three of us that write songs, it could just be war all the time, you know? But
I think it's good. I mean, I think, you know, if you want to try and create something different or push yourself, you have to be challenged, you know? And, you know, it would be so much easier for each of us, yeah, like I'm the person in the band, like when we were kids, and I have friends that, you know, maybe I get to tell them what to do. Maybe they listen, maybe they don't. But, you know, we've kind of been able to grow so much because someone else is, one of them's coming up with an idea I would have never thought of, and that kind of pushes me in a different direction. Then maybe I come up with something else, and I think that's the only way you can try and do something, you know, new, at least within yourself, yeah. So.
I can think of the worst based on what Chris was saying, actually. And it was given to us by someone who was legitimately trying to help a young band. But to me, I now believe the exact opposite. And they used to say to us, if you want to write songs for yourself, then play them in your bedroom. And if you want to go and play music for a living, then you have to write songs for everybody, you know, for the everyman, which is basically saying, don't do what you want, do what you think other people want to hear. And we never believed it then, but the further we've gone into being a band and making records and traveling the world, meeting people, meeting other musicians, you know, we've met some amazing musicians and played alongside some real legends, and I've never met anyone who thought that that was a good idea. You know, the only reason that you ever can connect with someone is if what you're doing is genuine. And so I've always remembered that, because at the time I was like, that's crazy. Like, we didn't move from New Zealand to, at this point in time we were in North America, we didn't move to the other side of the world to play songs that we didn't like. You know, that's a waste of, it's a waste of everything. So I always
thought, it's a waste of a life, you know, and a waste of a gift, which is playing music as a gift. It doesn't matter if you're just doing it in your bedroom or like you get to do it, you're lucky enough to do it on stage, but every moment for us, you get to have an instrument in your hand. That is a gift. So
yeah.
You know, somebody else gave us similar advice, which was go and listen to the top 5 bands on radio and try and sound like them. You know, I think, but I think the worst advice, you know, when it comes to you in a way that's so absurd, it turns into the best advice, because you're just saying like, why am I listening to these people?
Yeah.
That clearly what I want to do is so far away from what they think I should do. So in a way that was the best advice, because that was a breaking point that we just went, okay, I'm going to stop taking these phone calls or meeting these people or whatever.
And you kind of realize at that point in time how important it is to you to do what you believe in. You know, you always feel that way, but it's when someone says something like that directly challenges it, that's when you know, all three of us just were like, this is crazy, you know? No way in hell are we going to stop doing what we want and start trying to write songs that you don't like, you don't believe in, but you really hope other people like them, because then maybe they'll come and see you play. So yeah, I think that did ultimately turn out to be good advice, but it wasn't it wasn't delivered that way.
You know, otherwise there are so many bands that we're inspired by, that we get to tour with, and that love the music that they play, and they're backstage, you know, playing guitar all day, and they're going up and playing every show as if it was their first and last show, you know what I mean? Like giving everything they have every single night. And I think, you know, that's the best advice that I've ever felt. I don't know if anybody necessarily articulated it, but just by watching people do it, I think I've learned a lot from that.
Yeah, one thing, I can't remember who, but we've really been, you know, especially given that we come from New Zealand, we've really been fortunate to play with some absolute icons, you know, people like Slash or Ozzy Osbourne or Godsmack. I mean, just incredible bands. And from quite a lot of different people, one of the common messages that they've had in terms of what was important to them is be grateful, you know, have gratitude for what it is that you had. And it's amazing how much of a difference that makes, because, you know, we really do, like, you are living a dream lifestyle, you know, we're traveling the world. This is our first home in Bulgaria. You know, you came here to play for an arena full of people, and then, you know, and that's what you do with your life. But it is possible to get tired and jaded, and you know, there are things about the music industry that are difficult to navigate, and everyone deals with that. So it is possible to go down the path of feeling a bit kind of pissed off about everything, but I think ultimately, I've always thought that was great advice, because no matter what else is going on, you just look around at your life and you be grateful for it, and you're like, this is literally a dream come true. So I think that really makes the best of every situation.
I don't know, man.
I think you learn things as you go along.
You learn, you know.
You learn how to cope with situations better, or you learn, I think one of the things, to be honest, is, you know, Catacombs is our third album, and it makes perfect sense. But when we made our first album, as Chris was saying, like the number of different people who are kind of talking in your ear, and you're a new band, and you know that you can play music, and you know that you love playing music, but you don't really know if what you're doing is any good. And to me, when I look back at our career, it's like, man, if I could feel the sense of you kind of become a bit more at peace with your own abilities and a bit more confident, you know, not arrogant, but you're just like, okay, this is,
well, you kind of stop caring if anybody else is going to like it, you know, because you know,
exactly.
when you're a new band, or when you're taking all this sort of like dealing with all that industry, it becomes so important, like if other people like it or not, you know.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, you know, it doesn't really matter if they think you're any good, or if you think you're any good. Really, it's about, do you want to do it? Do you enjoy playing? You know, and at that point, if you do, then how wouldn't you want to make a record? Why wouldn't you want to go do that every night? So I think really not, you know, when we produce our own records, then you do have to judge, you know, do we think this is good enough? And because we're taking on that responsibility, you know, there's no one else there who can kind of oversee it. But that has to be something that you can switch off, so then you can just enjoy it and stop analyzing, you know. So
yeah, when I look back at, you know, just, it comes with time, so it makes sense. You can't be, you know, a rookie playing your first game and have the experience of the veteran. But when I look back, it's like, yeah, man, God, it's so much, there's a lot of kind of scrambling around that can happen when you first start out, because you're just trying to get a start. And now it's much more fun. Those are good questions.
I don't know how, it's not a single thing, but I would just say the point we're at now, I'm the most proud of. One, because, you know, being able to do this is amazing. Being able to do this, till our third record is incredible. I am really proud of the album that we made. Of all my albums, is by far my favorite. I really, believe in what we were doing musically, and I think, now just getting to go to all these other countries, like we never dreamed of going, and we'll be walking down the street and people will come up to us and, I'm so glad you guys are coming, and it took you guys so long to get here. I'm so grateful that you're here. Or to play a country we've never been, look out and see so many people sing along. I think that is just, it's not really an achievement. It's just a moment that I'm very grateful for, and I don't know.
It's a hell of an answer.
It's quite a good one.
I'd say the same thing, man. I think getting to as simple as it sounds, like getting to make the music that you truly believe in, and then going around the world playing it for people and seeing that connect with people.
So I did say it best.
You did say it best. But even through, when we were in Japan or, Bulgaria, even through different languages, different cultures, yeah, that's a pretty incredible thing. And I don't think you said that, so I added
That's
something.
true. You added a little.
I added a little something.
Sure.
Ooh. Trust your own instincts.
Trust your own instincts, and don't. It's kind of like, don't take anyone at their word. You know what I mean? I mean, we're at a great point now because the people around us we really, really trust. Our management, our business management, everybody in the band, our crew, and I think, the tough lesson to learn early on is people will say one thing and then go and tell someone else something completely different. And it can be very catty. People have no problem with being dishonest. People have no problem with giving you contracts that don't reflect what they've told you, or things in there designed to, exploit you or whatever. So I would say that's probably the toughest lessons is pick the people that are close to you. Mm-hmm. Choose them wisely. Read every single thing, every single contract, anything that you have to sign.
Yeah. We have great people.
A lot of egos in the industry, and none of them
and
are
not from the musicians.
Band,
Yeah. Like we have great people around us now, but for every band, I'm sure, you arrive at that. Most people don't start with that, and we just found it. Trusting your own instincts. It's not just in terms of musical direction. It's also like, if you get sent a contract and you're reading it, and you're like, hey, this doesn't sound right, then have someone else look over it. Or just the number of situations that we've been in where one of us or all of us will go, this isn't right.
Someone wants you to endorse something you don't believe in, or someone wants you to do something else, or at the end of the day, it is you. It's your band name, and that is a very special bond that you have with your fans, is that like they trust you and you trust them, and that is worth more than money, and it is worth more than like trying to take advantage of things.